Hi everybody, so this is your final task of this half term and it's a writing task and it's something that hopefully you'll be able to do well and something that will demonstrate your writing skills to me so I can give you a grade on your writing ability and then we can use that to help us make progress towards Easter. Okay, so this is an important task demonstrating what you can do, your writing skills. The outline is straightforward. You are going to write a letter, and in this letter, you should take the role of either a soldier at war, or a soldier at war who's writing to a loved one back at home, or a civilian who has a family member who is a soldier away at war. So you can choose to either be a soldier away on conflict somewhere, writing back home, or you can be someone at home writing to their loved one who's a soldier away somewhere else in the world. For your inspiration, you can use your own imagination, your own experiences, your own knowledge, or if you want to, you can use some of the poems or one of the poems in particular if you want to be inspired by one of the poems as your inspiration. Okay, so basically your ideas can be completely original, based on your own experiences, or you can use the poetry you've been reading to give you some ideas in terms of relationships and events and so on. What's important is that your letter does convey some kind of details. Okay, so this is what's going to make your letter a good letter. First of all, I want to see that you're kind of able to imagine the life that the writer's experiencing and questions about the life that the receiver is living. So details about what the soldier's going through if you're writing from the soldier's point of view, and questions about what's going on back home if you're writing from that point of view, or flip it around if you're writing from the person at home. Talk about what's been going on in your day-to-day life and ask questions about what's happening in the war. Okay, so as long as you've got a kind of combination of this is what's going on in my life as the person who's writing the poem and asking questions about the person's life who's going to be receiving the receiving the letter, I should say. Vital for this is that you do use the appropriate letter form conventions. So the things that you expect to see in a standard formal letter. Okay? And finally, when you're writing, I'm looking for paragraphs, I'm looking for accurate punctuation, and I'm looking for spellings, accurate spellings as well. Okay? So those are the things that I'm looking for and what I'm hoping to see in your work. All right? On the next slide, I'm going to take you through the mark scheme. So here is the mark scheme. That's a bit small to read here, so let's zoom in. The first half of the mark scheme is marked out of 24, and to get high marks, you need to have a range. These kind of features need to be in your writing. We're going to be, trying to make sure we get at least 10 marks. Okay, so when you're writing your letter, you need to make sure that your writing is engaging and interesting throughout the piece. So make sure it's pretty interesting all the way through. That means it's going to be interesting at the beginning and at the end, and hopefully a bit in the middle too. Make sure that you've got paragraphs in your writing. That's essential if you want to get 10 or more marks. And finally, make sure that your writing is written in the appropriate style and register. Okay, so it's got to have the right kind of tone, the right kind of flavour to it, the right kind of relationship needs to be coming through in your words between the writer of the letter and the person they're sending it to. To get higher than that, you need to basically be bringing in some devices to make it a bit more engaging, and that your structure and paragraphing is a bit more interesting. So you might have some shorter sentences, some shorter paragraphs. Even a single sentence paragraph might be useful to kind of demonstrate your skills in mixing up and demonstrating a range of structural features. And to get into level 5, there's a whole range of skills. Lots of subtlety, lots of crafting, making sure the whole thing is really effective as a kind of piece of writing that's engaging and interesting and enjoyable to read, with emotions and feelings and all the rest of it thrown in too. For the second mark, and this bit is marked out of 16, this is more to do with accuracy. Okay, so again, if we're aiming for that middle point here, level 3, this will be 7, 8, or 9 marks. Make sure that you've got interesting words, so you're not just going for the kind of the vocabulary that you've used time and time again. Try and get some more interesting vocabulary in there. Look at your accurate spelling. I don't really need to see or want to see any kind of common words being spelt incorrectly. So be really careful with those words that might be tricky, like there, and there, two, and two, and so on. And finally, there's a range of punctuation and sentence structures that are kind of achieving an effect. What that means is I don't just need capital letters and full stops and commas. That's kind of the basics, really. I want more than that. I want question marks. I want exclamation marks. I want brackets in there, semicolons and colons. I want you to demonstrate that you can achieve a range of punctuation and that it's accurate. And then with sentence structures, basically think, well, short and long and mid-length. So play around with your sentences. Try and have different lengths of sentences, and that should help you get those 9 marks there as the minimum. If you want to go further than that, then obviously you need to improve or increase your vocabulary. Make sure your spelling is really sharp and accurate. Think about punctuation creating an effect that can help you get into level 4, and make sure your sentences are kind of have a variety to them. Okay, not just long, medium, and short, but you might have different kind of openings to your sentences, covering a range of different styles. And finally, make sure that if you're going for level 5, you're going for top, then your vocabulary has to be really, really exceptional, engaging and delightful in vocabulary is what it's looking for. Delight and engage the reader. So really push the boat out on your vocab if you're aiming for level 5. And obviously your accuracy in punctuation and spelling has to be really good too. Your punctuation needs a full range. Okay, so that's how you're going to get high marks. But like I said, if you were hitting 20 marks out of 40, then that'll be a good result. Okay, so we're aiming for half marks. Anything better than half is a bonus, and that's how you'll go about getting those marks. Okay, guys, so over to you now. You can have a think, but you need to now start writing your letter that's going to be used in this piece of work. Okay, take care. Any questions, though, send me an email or drop me a line in the comments on Google Classroom.